Hey!
Oh my goodness!
Hi!
How's everybody doing?
How are you all? Oh my God! Welcome
so
to the Amalfi Coast.
Thank you. And right there, that's my townhouse right there.
Yes. And you see
right
this one with the orange roof? Yes, that's mine.
Right
yes,
there.
you know.
I'm right there.
Welcome to our we have
Right
adjoining villas
right
on the Amalfi Coast. You know, you're welcome to join us. You know, this is the remote Gay Boy Mansion. You know, every week, you know, we've decided to quit our jobs and travel around the country being fabulous and gay. So we're going to start on the Amalfi Coast. I think we're going to make it to
well, let's be clear, we didn't quit our jobs. We're just we were able to work remotely.
We're able to work remotely. Yes.
Yes.
So this week we're working remotely from the Amalfi Coast.
Yes.
In the weeks to come, we're going to be working remotely
from a couple different places, maybe the
Victoria
beach.
Falls, the beach.
I
feel like a trip to Tokyo. You know, we might take a cruise.
Listen, a cruise. I'm always here for a good cruise. Like I have so many memories of a good cruise, and so I'm here for it. I'm here for a good cruise.
Yes,
I'm here. I'm definitely here for a good cruise.
Links, the water is deep enough. How about you put your dick in and you tell us how deep the water is?
Ooh.
Have you seen Mr. Links been working out, showing the girls all of his pectorals and the titty-edges and all of that stuff, and on the Instagrams and Facebooks?
So I'm not going to sit back and say that I'm a fan and I have subscribed to his pages or nothing, but I synced you.
Wait a minute, Papa was like, y'all enjoy y'all go on cruising shocking. I feel like that was a read.
I think that I feel judgment.
It's judgment. You know what it is? You know what it is? It's jealousy. It's jealousy. It's jealousy because his villa there on the Amalfi Coast didn't sell. So
I mean, you know what they say, location.
There it is. You know, so, I don't really know what to tell you. So boom, boom, bye. Hey kids, can I ask a question? How does the audio sound?
Yeah, do we sound good? Are we too low? Are we too high? Like, you know, what's going on with that? How do you feel?
Yeah, we are, you know, testing out some new functionalities, and you know, we're trying to make this show as professional as possible. You know, when you're working remotely and yet still living the fabulous life that we are, you know, you want to be able to have the best, you know.
Listen, this show is not sponsored by this particular drink. So just so you know, I'm going to keep this label away from y'all.
Could you imagine if we were sponsored by Royal Farms? The amount of chicken that we would have.
Fuck that damn chicken. The amount of traveling we will be doing promoting Royal Farms, because bitch, I will be everywhere.
Everywhere. You like
chicken? You want the Colonel? Listen, fuck the Colonel. It's Royal Farms, bitch. It's all about Royal Farms, bitch. Fuck the Colonel.
Like it was that episode of South Park where there was the meatless craze, and so they had a Burger King, and Burger King had their meatless burgers, and then so Randy set up his old meatless burger stand right in front of the Burger King. That's how we're gonna be with Royal Farms.
Right.
Every time there's a 7-Eleven, we're gonna have a little Royal Farms cart selling chicken.
Hey,
like, Robin Leach, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. You know,
yes,
champagne wishes and caviar dreams
on a Ripple budget for me. So
exactly,
that's what we're doing. It's on a Ripple budget.
So, how was your week, dear?
So my week was actually really good.
Did you
weekend,
cut any bitches?
I'm gonna come to that. But I
know there were bitches that needed to be cut, but did you actually cut them?
No, I did not cut bitches. Last weekend I went to Hershey Park and I went to go celebrate with one of my little brothers, Cardinal, and I hung out with Maximus. And
how was it? Because you know, I wasn't going because I had money to. You know, financial concerns, but then also I was like, girl, we still under
So listen, let me be clear about my trip. I some of those reservations I had as well. When you start talking about going to the amusement park and being out in the public, I had some of those reservations, but Hershey Park, first of all, it was a cute little drive. Yeah. It was there before you even knew it. I love
like what, 90 minutes?
It's roughly 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours at the most. I love my little brother, but Lord have mercy. When you talk about somebody drive, oh my God. The problem is when you're driving, you need to pay attention to the steering wheel and the gear shift. You don't need to be over here looking at this, trying to fix. No. I need you to stay here. But I love you, little bro. But anyway, so cute drive. The park actually is a lot bigger, and it's been probably 35 years since I've been in the Hershey Park.
Mhm.
The last time I was there, the Super Duper Looper was like the newest roller coaster, and it's like a single loop roller coaster.
Right.
But we got there. Park opens at 11. We got there about 11:30, and the park was already full.
Did they have like a limit on the number of people that can get in the
You
park?
had to register before you came
Okay.
to see if there was available amount. So whatever their total number is, that's what they're shooting for.
Mhm.
And so I felt pretty okay because people were there. Everyone had on their mask.
Okay.
Literally, I probably
Like
saw
when you were in line for the ride where people standing
every-
6 feet apart.
Everyone had their mask on. There were only 3 people that didn't have their mask on that I saw. But now in the line, 6 feet apart, yeah, people didn't quite observe that. But I felt like everyone had their mask on, so I still felt reasonably okay.
Okay.
And so, but now here's the key. Now listen, I'm gonna just go ahead and tell y'all for gentlemen of a certain age, like my patience is short, my knees is a little rough, and my back is a little rough. But we got in line for one of the newest roller coasters, and I'm gonna talk about the roller coasters. They are fab. By the time we got in line, due to weather delays, we went to another line because that particular roller coaster was closed. And then by the time we finally got on that ride, it was almost 2:00 and we'd only ridden one ride. So
So it was less people there, but it took forever to get on the ride.
No, it was less people, but they weren't running all of the cars. So instead of 4 cars or 3 cars, there was probably only like 2 or 3 different trains that they were running as opposed to the 4 or 5 that they may be running. Well, I took my hind parts over to that.
Well, you heard what you saw. That back is rough for a whole other reason, not age. Stay trying it though.
You know, just because I love my brother Roman, I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say come try it, come find out. But I'm gonna just leave that alone. I'm not gonna.
You don't want Roman to be
I don't want Roman to fuck. He'll fuck around and be at my door and shit. And you know that shit.
There's some little thin ones that can fight.
I mean, that's fine, but bitch, I'm old and I'm ornery. That's where I'm at. So, but anyway, so yeah, I went over to that little line and I had to get that little fast pass situation, and it was twice the amount of money I paid to get in that bitch. But let me tell you, it was well worth it because bitch, when I tell you I sashayed through the entire line, because you know at amusement parks they set the lines up where it's like, if this is the roller coaster, or like if this is the roller coaster here, and there's a line that goes all the way over here, but there's a maze back here in the corner, you have to come back up here.
Right.
That's exactly how it was. So I was like, okay. So we didn't wait in that near line. I just rolled up, got on the ride, and went like I was good with that. Okay. But the roller coasters, they have a brand new one called Candemonium. When I say it is the smoothest roller coaster ever. Ever. It was so fucking smooth. There was another roller coaster called Fahrenheit with the most disrespectful hill ever. You literally start off like this and then you wind up 90 degrees on your back with your legs up in the air. I was like, well, what in the name? I got to what the and you come straight down. All these hills were like almost like going straight down. They were these rides were amazing. All the roller coasters were absolutely amazing. And I kudos to Hershey Park because they've expanded these new coasters. It's now on my list of places that I want to go, pretty often. So, but besides that, hung out with some of the brothers, 007 and Maximus and Cardi. We were all hung out. It was a good day. And
007 went to?
Yes. And we had a good time. The week was pretty good. The week has been going pretty well.
She's still trying it. That's a familiar position, isn't it? Oh, she is trying it today. And we started off by giving her a compliment too. All right, girl. All right, that's cool.
All right. So, but
as long as she don't come for me, because because I know where the hole is.
Listen, I can very well find out where he lives, but
I ain't scared. DJ never scared,
never scared. But the day was good until today, where I had some nonsense with my. Listen, let me just go ahead and say this for the record.
Fuck the family.
Yeah, fuck the family. I love them, but right now, yeah. So I'm just not gonna go into a whole lot of details, but I was good up until today. So, oh, that's an invitation. Come get it. Okay, all right. Okay, you serving? Listen.
Oh, listen. If I come get it, you got to give it up. So,
but anyway, other than that, it was a good week. How was your week?
I'm just saying, I've been trying to have since I known it, but I've been polite because we be like family.
So this is our mission. I mean, I feel like there was a challenge. The gauntlet has been set, that's been laid down. Links, what you gonna do?
Right.
What you gonna do?
Right. Your little chameleon can't save you now. My week was uneventful. Work stuff or work search stuff, and this was a pretty quiet week for me generally.
Okay.
So
Okay.
everything's cool. Hey, Midas, I'm glad you enjoy the background.
Right.
You can come join us on the Amalfi Coast.
That's where we are. So, like I said, that's my little villa right there, right on the corner.
Right, and that's my villa right here.
Right there.
Right
so
there.
Pap got listen. Pap got a space for you. It's plenty of rooms. I just you good. Come on through. So thank you very much. It's called washing. When you wash the hair, it actually does what's supposed to be done.
Yes.
So. But well, good. I'm glad you had a good week.
I didn't say it was good. I just said it was, quiet.
Well, okay. So quiet can be good.
Yeah, we still, but dear God,
we still here. We still here.
So let's get into it because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's start. All right. So T.I. shares what Tory Lanez told him about Megan Thee Stallion shooting. So of T.I., who has apparently been vocal in his support for Meg Thee Stallion, said that he had a conversation. Well, first of all, he had an interview with Complex, and he talked about how it's important to support Megan, which I'm not going to talk about because
you already mentioned that.
Yeah, all of this shit. He talked about his own daughter, how he goes her gynecological exams and, to ensure that she's still a virgin and all that other shit. So, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and basically he was really just saying it is absolutely important for you to support Black women and to actually not leave them hanging out to dry at all. So it's always about supporting them. But he also had a conversation with Tory Lanez afterwards. No,
please, because you read it more.
He also had a conversation with Tory afterwards because Megan had reported that there was controversy over what happened between Megan and Tory. And so Megan, while she reported being shot and went to the hospital, she never gave the specific details as to why or how it happened. Megan was quiet and didn't say but so much. Then apparently Megan was being bothered and bullied, if you will, by people saying that she's talking too much, she's saying this, she's saying that. And she's like, listen, I'm not doing anything. So apparently Tory jumped in at some particular point and she was like, I'm gonna need you to stop fucking with me, because if you don't stop fucking with me, I'm gonna really tell people what happened and what actually went down. So I'm gonna need you to back up off me. And that's literally what she said to them. So T.I. got into the situation because he wanted to know what actually happened. So honestly speaking, T.I. never said what actually happened. He said he had a conversation with Tory Lanez and he says, listen, and I'm going to quote him. Listen, man, I don't know, man, but I spoke to him and he said the shit didn't happen like that. I said, well, you need to be saying something, bro. I mean, how did it happen? And he said he couldn't say nothing about how it actually did happen. I told him I understand. He said, but man, you can't expect nobody to ignore the facts that are being presented if you don't have any other conclusive facts that can overturn these. You got to say something, bro. If you ain't going to say nothing, you can't expect nobody else to. I ain't about to just shut up when you got facts out here that say it's a woman been shot at the hands of another Black man within the culture. We got to speak on that. Where the fuck are ends at and as if we don't know. So,
yeah, well, Tory Lanez is saying all this. He can't talk about it. The fact of the matter, according to Megan, is that she was shot by Tory Lanez.
Yeah. And so
the circumstances that surround that has not been made clear, but that is according to Megan what happened, that she got shot by him. And then when the police showed up, she didn't say anything because one, she was two Negroes in the car. There was weed and maybe whatever else in the car and a gun. And so she just didn't say anything. But that probably was under the assumption that this dude was at least going to keep his mouth shut and not be releasing tracks and using this shooting to promote his little career or whatever. So, yeah, so fuck him.
Yeah. I mean, right, Lynx. Who knew this happened? I mean, we knew about it. We talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago when it first happened. But,
right. Bitches.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Marie Oggsman apparently is exiting the talk because she didn't get along with Sharon Osbourne and Cheryl Underwood.
So first of all, let's back up. Did you even know that Marie Osmond was on
I
the
didn't
talk?
even know that because I don't watch the talk at all.
Like
so.
I'm trying to, and the fact that even Eve is on the show, like I've seen her several times on the show.
Eve is on the show?
Eve is a co-host. She's a host on the show. So it's Cheryl Underwood, Sharon Osbourne, Eve, and apparently it was Marie Osmond. But then there's also
what happened to Darlene?
No, she's gone. She's gone. Darlene's gone.
Her name isn't Darlene. Whatever the fuck her name was, she was Darlene on the Roseanne show.
But yeah, Marie Osmond was a
yeah, right. Links. I mean, she's still alive. Ain't she like 175 years old? I mean, I know Nutrisystem works good.
She's doing good.
Look good as a mug, but goddamn.
Listen, but she was, and I was like, she exited from the talk. But listen, shout out to Cheryl Underwood for being able to have some weight with the show, because I remember there was a time when she talked about her not being involved with the Queens of Comedy, I believe it was, and it had everything to do with her being on a call with two of the comedians that were on that show that had stuff to say about her. So I mean, it's kind of yes. This was, and she addressed this on the talk and saying how they were saying she said that the comedians on the show, she didn't name which ones, they were talking about her, and a lot of it had to do with her appearance. And so she was just like, that's what we are? Like, that's what we're doing?
They were saying this to her face, or they didn't realize
they didn't realize she was still on the call.
Oh, see, hold on. So if you ever got shade to do, you hang up on this line.
You disconnect, like, call them back.
Call me back. Never stay on the main line.
Right.
Never.
Right. So, so shout out to her.
But yeah, so good for her. But
now
I've never. So what? So there's the View, the Talk, and the Real.
Yeah.
I get the Talk and the Real confused.
So the Real was what Tamar was fired from. That's with Lonnie Love,
yes,
Adrian Bailon, Jenny Mai, and Tamara Mosley, I think it was. Mosley? One of the Tamara, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were on that one. So that, and then what's the other one? The View? The View is Whoopi.
Whoopi is the only one that I know about, and I only really care about that one slightly. So
yeah, I mean,
if I care this much about The View, I don't care nothing about the other two. So
yeah,
they could all go to hell for it. I mean, no shade. I mean, that would sound shady, but
I mean,
good for them. But I mean, I don't want to just sit around and listen to people arguing about foolishness back and forth all day. So, let's just hit this real quick. Y'all know Eric Trump is a moron.
You know who his daddy is too, right?
Right. So, the moron apple don't fall far from the moron tree. And first of all, I got to burp because
listen,
Epic bought this chicken and these potato wedges, and these girls are sitting on my stomach like a delicious brick.
I told y'all, and we were talking about this before the show started. I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired all of a sudden. This food is in my stomach. I'm so full.
Mm-hmm. And all right. So anyway, Eric Trump says that he's part of the LGBT community, and it was a mistake. He clearly isn't. He misspoke, and he says the LGBT community, they are incredible, and you should see how they've come out in full force for my father every single day. I'm part of that community, and we love the man. He clearly was talking about all the other people, not the LGBT community. And as a part of the LGBT community, are there a few homos that have come out in support of Trump? Yes, because there's idiots in every group.
That is true.
But they have not come out for him full force every day. That's what we call gaslighting. When you try to force people or almost bully them or psychologically, say something often enough till they start to believe something. If you say this every day, well, the gays love Trump. The gays love Trump. And if you see it in the news media and everything, you're like, well, maybe the gays do love Trump.
That is the premise of that damn man's presidency. But here's the key of the whole situation. According to TMZ, they said that the reps for GLAAD, the Human Rights Campaign, PFLAG, and NTCE Action Fund tell TMZ there's a consensus that folks in the community are not mostly Trump fans, nor do they consider him or his genuine allies, his family genuine allies in their fight for equality and representation. The facts are clear. They say the Trump administration has actively worked against LGBT causes, from blocking trans soldiers from serving from serving to sanctioning discrimination and or firings of gay workers and couples looking to foster. And one last thing, they were also saying if Eric is seriously coming out, PFLAG says it welcomes him with open arms, even if he is a Trumper.
I don't work for PFLAG, so I would say fuck it.
I'm gonna say no, thank you,
because I'm like this. There is a difference between a person who realizes at some point in their life that they're part of the community, they're bisexual or whatever.
So,
but then, yeah,
Belladonna, I'm gonna come back to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he can be gay if he wants to be gay, but don't expect me to embrace him because everything about your existence has been antithetical to what it means to be a person in the LGBT community. Just like someone who is Black in terms of their ethnicity, but they vote against policies that would benefit the Black community. Like skin folk ain't kinfolk.
You talking about the
Kentucky Attorney General? Just because you are Black don't mean you Black. And just because you like men, or if you're a woman, if you like women, or if you're a person that likes both, that don't mean we got to welcome you to the community. That don't mean I'm going to shake your hands. That don't mean I'm going to have anything to do with you because you have made purposeful decisions throughout all of your professional life that has been antithetical to everything that you've done up to that point. And unless you're going to now take steps to walk that back or say, these are the things that I used to believe, but I believe different now, then fuck you. And even then, it's going to take a while before I believe you because, you know, hoes can say a whole lot of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, Caitlin. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that?
Yes. Yeah, fuck her too. So, you know, yeah, I mean, listen, you transition and I will completely call her Caitlin because she is deserving of that. And
I'm not even,
she transitioned, but I ain't got
to
fuck with her.
Yeah, her thoughts on policies and her actions, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's like someone said, oh, if I had, if you had $1 for every time Trump said something ridiculous in the
do you know how much money I would have right about now?
He said, well, how much money would you have? I said, I would have enough money not to be bothered by anything Trump said because I'd be too rich to be bothered.
Yeah, like we're not gonna do that. Like
So anyway, so fuck him and fuck his quote unquote stance on the LGBT community. So
but Belladonna, yeah, I mean, again, he can be gay and you were saying that he can like boys, whatever, but I ain't, like you just said, I ain't welcoming him into the community. Like I'm not trying to send him a microwave and a t-shirt and nothing like that. I ain't doing that. Like I ain't.
Right, like if Miss Lindsay was outed today, or you know, decided to say, you know, if he decided to get on the Senate
Did you say
floor,
outed today?
Right. If Miss Lindsay got on the floor of the Senate and was like, I am a homosexual.
I'm so sorry. What was that again? Could you repeat that, please?
I am a homosexual. I will be like, fuck your gay ass.
And not in the way that you might
and
like.
not in the way that you like. Because as I just said, everything that you've done to that point has been antithetical to, you know, this new position. And this isn't something you just found out.
No.
You would have been knowing that you like dick all this time and yet still voted for all of this shit. So fuck you. Yeah. Anyway, so now on to Eric Benet.
So I kind of want to bring
rose
this up
out of the woodwork.
Well, he did.
Give us this.
He rose up out of the woodworks, and listen, that man still. Listen, he's still.
You love my accent, Midas.
He's still a cutie though. He is still a cutie.
Tyra was like, I thought Miss Lindsay was already out. Miss Lindsay is not out. I will have you know that Miss Lindsay Elizabeth Graham is a proud Christian heterosexual man. He enjoys the pleasures of putting his penis in a woman's vagina.
We just gonna let that sink for a minute. We just gonna let that sit. Just let it marinate for just a second.
Anyway, on to Lindsey Graham. I mean, Eric Benet.
Listen, Eric Benet. I used to. Something about that.
You had
man.
a crush on Eric Benet?
I did.
Really? He was always just sort of invisible to me.
He was very earthy, very crunchy, but he was also sensitive and everything. And plus, I saw him sing on the stage, and he had no shoes on. He had pretty feet. I was like, oh my god, oh my god. But he popped up out of nowhere, and on Twitter, he's kind of sending the Twitterverse into a little bit of a storm. He tweeted one day last week that theoretically, a man could impregnate 4 women a day per year, which would be 1,460 pregnancies. A woman can give birth only once a year. Now, if birth control was the objective, science created the pill for the wrong gender. That sent social media into a tizzy because everybody had opinions, and a lot of them were largely in support of Eric Benet's analysis. But, you know, I don't know. How do you all feel? I mean, I thought that was something important to bring. And I think we all have our own individual thoughts and beliefs on that. I know for me, when I dated women, what I have...
You put your penis in a woman's vagina? And you enjoy
and
it?
consecutively. And other things too, mouth and tongue and lips and fingers and
everything. My Lord,
lips and yes, everything.
Well,
everything.
Clutch my pearls.
Well, I mean,
slap me in the mouth with a penis.
Well, I mean, I did that too, but in any event, I felt
hey,
like
Seven.
I felt like if I was still in that predicament and I wanted to not have children, then yes, I absolutely would have probably taken birth control.
Where's my prayer cloth?
Come on,
it's covering your knees because you are a lady.
Listen, come on, take that prayer cloth and lay it on over me so you can lay hands on it and pick it up.
Right.
I'm gonna put it right where you can lay hands and you can pick it up afterwards.
Yeah. So I thought his premise was wrong. Because so Eric Benet, he acknowledged that birth control is rooted in misogyny. If he means that the current fight over birth control is 100% rooted in misogyny, that is true. But I believe that the original birth control pill freed women. Because now... Marcus said the prayer cloth is a cum rag.
Well, I mean, listen, we have plenty of those still for sale, right?
We sure do. We got plenty of those.
They $5 a piece. Matter of fact, get links too. I got you. Give them to.
Oh, Lola said she got a chance with you.
You did once upon a time, but that was even before 2000. So that was up until about 1992, 3, 4ish. Mm-hmm. After that, I became whorish. With the boys.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
And actually, I was whorish before then with the boys, but still, that's another story.
But I think that the original birth control freed women from being a slave to their biology. So, and you could, a woman could now freely enjoy sex without having to worry.
God. Dog on your soul divine.
I know this bitch came in and was like, oh, I wasn't even born then.
Oh my God. He was born then. He was only one. But
because he was born in 91. Okay, well, fuck your little young ass showing your cakes all on the Instagrams and all of that.
No, I'm sorry. He was 2.
Oh.
Oh, God.
But yeah, so I just, I don't agree with the premise that birth control itself is rooted in misogyny, because I think as a man, now I would love to hear from the women that are watching this and other women.
Absolutely.
But that birth control itself frees women from, it allowed women to have that freedom in their life that they didn't have previously. And with that freedom came other opportunities for career advancement. It also meant that you were no longer, it was less about being saddled with the child and being saddled with the man that came with the child, if anything, because now if you had sex, you weren't going to get pregnant, which meant that your whole life didn't have to come to a stop. So you could then now focus on your career, and you could plan when you wanted to get pregnant in a way that women of previous generations didn't. Now, the fight over birth control, I think, is definitely political and definitely has roots in misogyny, because it's about control over that very freedom that women have.
Right. My thing is with birth control for women, it gave them the choice. Yes. Because there are women, just like there are men, that do not want to have children,
or they don't want to have them right now,
and that as well. Right. So that gave them a choice. But now, by taking away a woman's right to choose, that's where the issue is, and that's where the misogynistic behavior, because yes. You do not own her body. You do not. And so the fight about, and this goes into the whole thing of pro-life, versus anti-abortion. Is that the same thing?
Pro-life is anti-abortion. Yeah, pro-life and pro-choice.
Pro-life and pro-choice. Yes. That's a whole different conversation. But even still, at the end of the day, and this is my own personal belief, that is your body. That's just the long and short of it. Yes, it does take two people to tango, but that is your body. That is your choice at some particular point.
Well, and Lola says birth control research and marketing in the current day is misogynistic because there are only female options. That's true, because, like even when, there's some morons, dudes who, if a woman gets pregnant, it's like, what? Why weren't you on the pill? Well, bitch, why didn't you pull out? I mean, the fuck?
Or why didn't you have a vasectomy? But see, men do not. When you say vasectomy, listen,
right? But they'll tell a woman, they'll tell her like an abortion isn't an operation,
it's not, right? And it's not like it's an easy thing to do. Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, I'm just go drop this baby off and keep it moving. No, that's a whole medical procedure,
right? And then when they want to have options like the birth control pill, which essentially is an at-home option, they want to take away that option, because the birth control pill really does turn it into an at-home kind of thing where, I don't know the exact mechanism behind it, but I think it's essentially you do it, it's sort of flushed out, and there you go. But I agree. So, I mean, I kind of agree with what he's saying, is that, there should be some sort of a pill that, inhibits the motility of sperm or something.
That's what Belladonna was actually just saying. I was reading, she said that they've done some research on male pills, but because of the side effects, they won't put them on the market because men won't take them.
Well, listen, I mean, I agree with that, but I mean, it's not as if the birth control pill don't have a ton of side effects.
Yes, it does.
Listen,
yes, God.
I don't use words like gold star gay, and I'm not saying I'm proud of this, or it's only a topic because we're talking about it, but I've never had sex with a woman. And so I've never been involved or had to think about the idea of contraception or whatever, or what is involved in, birth control and all that.
Or having to wait and see if she got her period.
Right. I mean, so it's not as if birth control pills are free of side effects or consequences. I mean, they can cause your periods to go away entirely, or they can make you bleed a lot more. I mean, they can cause cramps.
Lola.
They can do all sorts of things. So I just feel like the first dude, it's like they had the study, and the first dude was like, oh, this makes my penis hurt a little bit. And the scientist was like, well, we can't have your penis hurting. Meanwhile, this woman is like, I took this pill and I have cramps and I can't get out of the bed. And he was like, well, don't be a bitch, and big girls don't cry, and you should continue to take the pill. So that whole line of reasoning about male birth control pill having side effects is misogyny.
Well,
because they use it as an excuse not to pursue it further, but that's not a reason for women not to take it and have other options, is what I'm saying.
So Eric, I appreciate him for bringing it up, and I appreciate him for putting it out there. I kind of actually, I don't want to say I agree with him, but what I'm going to say is, again, if I was still in that arena or on that side of the fence, and it was an option, sure, I definitely would. If I knew I didn't want to have kids, I definitely would take the procedure or have a procedure, whether it was a vasectomy or whether it was take the pill. Now, I can honestly tell you that if there was a pill that was available for me and I'm still sleeping with women, then I would be taking the pill, because it seems like that would be a lot easier. Like, I don't want you to cuddle me and that's it. Like, I'm good. So
FYI, the Supreme Court recently voted to allow Trump to exempt employers from the Obamacare birth control mandate. So since 2010, employers have been mandated to guarantee free birth control and contraceptive services and services for women and any other person with a uterus who requires it. And so far, all FDA-approved contraceptives were included. Now, employers have the option not cover birth control. And I'm betting you, if you looked at the Venn diagram of employers who won't cover birth control and employers who will penalize a person for getting pregnant, there's a huge amount of overlap.
Listen, I used to work for a small private Catholic institution, and that was covered. And one day, my good girlfriend called me and said, I went to go pick up my pills, and they told me that I cannot because our job does not cover that anymore. I said, what?
Right.
I felt so. She said, so I have to pay for it. I was like, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's bullshit.
Yeah.
All right. So we got two big things to talk about this week. We're going to talk about the presidential debates. We got to put presidential in quotes first, and then we're going to talk about Lovecraft. So we're going to talk about the
let's talk about the bad
ugly,
first. Yeah, let's do the bad and ugly first.
So, I mean, I had posted on Facebook yesterday that in the run-up to 2016, I was feeling, hopeful that, we were going to continue, all of the progress that we have made under Barack Obama. And let's be clear, I was never one of these people who thought of Barack Obama as a magic Negro.
Not at all. And I swear to God,
even black people, when he got elected, I did benefit as a homeowner because of the housing crisis and everything. I did get like an extra rebate that following year on my taxes and everything. But I didn't expect that, all of a sudden I was going to get my Negro present because we had a president who was half black and had a beautiful black wife and a beautiful black family. So I wasn't expecting those kind of miracles, but I do think we made progress. But the progress that we did make, a lot of that had to do with obstruction by the other side to anything that was proposed.
The issue that I had with when he was running before he got into office, that would be Barack Obama, was that people were running around, black people that I ran into that were constantly saying this and toting this. They were like, you got to vote for him because he's going to be good for black people. And I was like, that's not why you vote for this man. Like, I get it that there may be some benefits, but also let's not forget that Barack Obama is still a politician. There are still some things that he needs to have happen.
Politics is about compromise.
And so
even the best politician has to compromise.
Right. And I'm like, it is not that he's going in there with this whole black agenda is going to make sure he checks off this entire list. Now, I'm not saying there are not things that we have benefited from with this. House and ever, that was not the reason that I voted for him.
Right.
So but anyway, I'm sorry, you were going on talking about.
No, so all of that was to say that in the run up to 2016, I was feeling hopeful despite some of the documented things that Hillary Clinton had done and that she was a part of, the whole thing with super predators. Although to me, we can't blame that on Bill and Hillary Clinton because lots of Negroes were 100% behind all of that shit. I remember, Devon might have been 2 years old, but in 1992, we were 21 years old. And so in 1996, we were 25 years old. And remember how pastors and all of that were all the way on board with the crime bill and all of this other stuff. So, you want to point fingers at Bill and Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. Well, you need to point the finger at your fucking pastor, your aunt, your uncle, all of the other black people that were around that were also in support of this. So all of that is to say that I was very hopeful. And then that election just ruined me. I literally have not watched the news, network news like MSNBC and all of that until last night. The debate was the first time I watched the news since November the 8th, 2016 was the first time that I had watched cable news since then. Cause I was just like, It's not that I blamed them per se. I mean, because they didn't do anything. They just reported the shit. But I was just like, it's so much stress and just whatever.
I 210% understand that. Although I found myself paying attention more because even before this election, up until Barack ran for the first time, and even the time that he was in the office and ran for second, and he was going out, I needed to understand what was going on, and I paid more attention then because it was Barack, but I paid more attention afterwards because I was like, this can't be happening. Like, this has to be a joke. Like, I think for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I was really like, this is a joke. Like, somebody's gonna pop up and be like,
girl,
this is a prank.
like
this was
bitch,
ridiculousness.
Wake up,
steroids,
wake up.
This was like America's Funniest Home Videos. Like, I literally, and I found myself watching television, like thinking, like, it's got to be. And American Horror Story, I think it was
really
after
does
that.
feel like an American Horror Story series.
Like when it talked about that year that they did the freak show, but not freak show.
It had the political spin.
The political spin on it. I can't think what it is right now. But I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is what like Sarah Paulson's character felt like. She was acting out how I actually felt at that moment. It was just,
you know, these last 4 years have felt like everything that happened. It really is like a horror show, like giving, you know, locking children up. We haven't even got to the actual debate yet. We're gonna get to that in a minute. Locking children up, you know, or locking families up that are here seeking asylum, taking them away from their parents. I mean, that's horror story shit.
Yeah, it is.
Giving women abortions with not abortions, hysterectomies without their consent. That's horror story shit. Really that is some fucking, what is it? Scar, Claw, with the clown, Saw. That's some Saw shit.
That's Saw, but you also, I thought you were talking about it, Pennywise. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
But no.
I mean, that is it's cult, American Horror Story cult.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
So so coming into this debate, I was like, girl, I feel like I gotta watch this because
that American Horror Story election. Shut up, Links.
Not because I expected anything different, but I don't know. I guess I was, you know, masochistic about it and wanted to do whatever.
Listen, let me just say that, and somebody said this in here as well. It was a shit show of a dumpster fire, moving down a hill, top speed. Yeah, but you could not move you couldn't stop watching. Like, you just had to watch it, and it was just awful because I will say, for the record, they both lost. But what I will say is, in my opinion, Biden won by default.
Because he was the only one that showed up to debate.
Right. And he actually had some facts and figures and numbers that made sense and were correct. Now, they did fact check afterwards. And so 95%
no person gets everything.
Of Donald shit was just wrong. Right. And I think there was maybe 1 or 2 points that Biden put up that were, the numbers were incorrect because they had changed and they were based on the previous years. So yes, they were incorrect, but they were just based on the previous years. Right. So I'm gonna give him that. And I also like the fact that during the election, he literally turned towards the camera and actually was speaking.
Right. He was like,
to the American people.
So, because at first he was engaging, then he was like,
he's like, I don't have
America.
I don't have it. Like, America.
Y'all know this motherfucker. Y'all know this motherfucker's crazy.
Right.
Y'all see this. I'm not the only person that sees this.
He called him a clown.
You see this like I do. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm telling you, this is how you know Joe Biden is a fairly decent person. I'm not saying he didn't say
Donna, I agree
racist and all of this other stuff in the past. But when you start talking about my dead son, bitch, let me tell you, the amount of like woosah, and like you saw it because he was like, he did a Sinead moment. He was in his mind, he was like, you know, I could just fuck this bitch up right now.
Right. He was just like,
I could fuck him up. I could just leap across the stage and fuck him up. And nobody would say I was wrong. And he just talked about my dead son. Yeah. He was looking at his wife. He's like, you know, I could fuck him up, right? You know, I could fuck him up. And nobody would blame me. Nobody would blame me because he just talked about my dead son. And so I I know what you're saying about you think that Biden, they both lost, but I don't know that I have anything to blame Biden for, because there was no way that you could succeed in this arena.
Yeah, there's no arguing with a 2-year-old. This, and someone said this on Facebook last night. I don't remember who it was, but they were like, "This is why kindergarten teachers need to be paid more money,
right? Because
you're arguing with a kindergartner." And I was like, you know what? That is absolutely right. Like I'm so happy with that. Like that makes sense. It makes absolute. He's not. It was very much of like, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. No, you did it. You did it.
Except he wasn't. He was literally doing like this.
Okay, bitch. Okay, all right, bitch.
And
okay,
then
all
saying,
right, all right, sugar. All right, sugar. All right.
And then saying, I'm not touching you.
Damn heavy-handed hoes. Shit.
Woo, woo, woo. Woo, woo, woo. Ow.
Shit. Lies, garbage, and fairy tales, bitch. My hair is laid and fried.
But I was just like, as I was sitting there, I was like, so first of all, we knew this was going to happen. So no one is like, oh, I can't believe Donald Trump behaved like this. But even so here's my thing. This is, this proves one of two. Well, it proves that he's not qualified to be president, and he wasn't before. But his answers show, or his responses, because they weren't answers. What he said proves, because whenever he was confronted with a policy position, and it wasn't even that he disagreed with Joe Biden's policies, it was whenever he was asked to articulate a policy, he immediately went on defensive. It wasn't, oh, well, girl, you don't like my policy. Well, what's your policy? But your mother's fat. That was literally what it was. It wasn't, oh, I don't like your policy, and here's why, and here's my policy. It was immediately, but your mother's a bitch.
But on the flip side, Joe did not give me the countenance. He did not give me the posture. He did not give me the authoritative tone in his voice of the stereotypical senior statesman, presidential. I can't even get mad at him, because he also when he gave information, statistics, it worked.
Right.
They were correct. And I'm good with that, because that for me showed that he was at least paying attention and trying to do something.
And again,
whereas Donald was not.
Right. So usually, this is where the argument that it's like fighting with a child falls apart. Because listen, a little child, you're a kindergarten teacher, or you babysitting a little 4-year-old or whatever. Ultimately, you could just be like, well, you can say whatever the fuck you want. I'm still the adult. And if you keep fucking around if you want, and your ass will end up in your room with no dinner. And you can be like, listen, I can take everything out this room, and you just sit in this room with these 4 walls. You can think about how to act when people do that. You can't do that with somebody that's 74 years old. So he couldn't focus, or as much as you would like him to have presented, and done whatever. And I wanted him to do that too. You basically taking up all of your time just trying to remember what bullshit ass point we were on now, while meanwhile this dude is steady calling calling out your dead son on one hand, then saying your son is still living. Is, of all the things he's going to talk about, he's going to talk about Joe Biden's Russian connection. Of all the things, of all the audacity,
and the fact that he was a drug addict,
and the fact, I was like, girl,
like what does that have to do?
Even if, what's the other? Hunter. White people love them names. It's like Bold and the Beautiful. Hunter, Ridge, Bo.
Credit. Stay on track. Stay on focus.
All right. Even if Hunter Biden was the crackiest of all crack addicts, that ain't got shit to do. It has
nothing to do with
Joe Biden running for president.
Absolutely.
Because plenty of those people that vote Republicans got sons and daughters who have methamphetamine is destroying a lot of middle American families. So if Joe Biden,
2 words. Breaking Bad. How about that?
If Joe Biden is a terrible parent because of Hunter Biden's alleged drug abuse, then what does that say about every other parent of a drug addict in this country? But again, that's not even important. So I think Joe Biden did as good as he could under the circumstances, also considering that Joe Biden has a stutter.
So I don't know.
And I mean, like literally, like Joe Biden stuttered so bad that they thought he was developmentally delayed when he was a child.
Right. And even now, I think because he's in these tense moments, this is where it comes up and he starts to fumble and stumble.
Vocal cues and stuff. That's a way to like snap
out of it.
Yeah. And so I get that. So he did as well as he could. But my point, you know, because we love to talk, and it's fine. This is fine. It's fine. America.
Continue on.
Facts are facts. But no, it either if this was how this man acts, it proves that he is unqualified to be president. If this was the plan, you know what I mean? Oh, what's that?
I'm just counting for how much longer this conversation is going to go on with you.
Oh, girl, fuck you. Fuck you.
I mean, I'm just saying. You know, you're saying that I'm talking a lot. I'm just saying. I'm just going to time you. That's all. I'm just going to time you.
If this was how he was prepped, if his prep involved them saying to him every time someone says something to you, start a fight, then that says
you don't need no prep for that. You just need to be fine.
But my point is, it's one thing if he is a terrible person. It's another thing if everyone around him knew that this is what he was going to do and this was the plan, because that speaks to a level of it is a deficit of leadership at multiple levels within the Trump administration that someone said to him, this is your plan of action. Not that he did that, but that someone said, this is how you should act. As the president of the United States, this is how you should act on a national stage when you want people to vote for you, that you should, instead of answering any question, you should deflect. And more people are saying that this is exactly how he was prepped. So he didn't go off of script. In fact, he stayed on script, and the script was to do this from the jump, which says to me that everyone who works for him is a traitor, as far as I'm concerned.
Can I just tell you what? So I watched it because it was hard to not watch.
Yeah.
And I couldn't turn my eyes away from it. But I can tell you that I checked out and when the president made 3 points. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump on national television did not condemn white supremacy.
Yeah.
The president of the United States did not condemn white supremacy. The commander-in-chief did not condemn white supremacy. And I'm quoting my man Van from MSNBC, or I'm sorry, CNN. He's the only black guy with the bald head and the glass. I can't think of his last name. I'm going to say Van Morrison, but Van Johnson. Thank you. But afterwards, those are the things that stuck in my mind. Mm-hmm. And when he made that comment about the Proud Boys,
yeah, stand back and stand by, which is not denouncing. Stand by is like, okay, girl, be ready for action.
I was not tickled. I was not impressed. I was fucking irritated because this asshole is on national television in front of millions of people on this planet trying to go back to 1940, 30 something with Adolf and I got my ballot yesterday. Let me be clear.
I got mine too.
I got my ballot, and I am ready to drop this motherfucker off. In fact, I am going to make sure that I am one of the first people there to drop this thing off in this. And in fact, I said I was going to probably go and vote, but I'm going to look at my ballot. I'm going to check my ballot out. I'm going to compare it because I'm going to have this conversation because there was a thing that actually one of our Facebook friends had mentioned that his ballot was different than his husband's.
Really?
Yes. So I need to check that. I just want to make sure that our ballots are the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Once I do that, if there's any discrepancy.
Yeah. What I would probably do is use the ballot to do my research.
Well, and listen.
I mean, I don't need to do no research at the presidential level.
Yeah, like I'm yeah. But I just want to make sure that there's no mistake or no issue with counting my vote because I'm casting my vote.
Right. There were a few other things. Your president, y'all's president, said some shit about, he keeps talking about the post office and, they're not equipped to handle it. And Joe Biden pointed out something that the post office delivers 180 million pieces of mail a day. Not a month, not a year, a day. So adding an additional 80 million, because if 80 million people vote, an additional 80 million pieces of mail as a one-time thing to that 180 million pieces a day is statistically insignificant. So the idea that they're not going to be able to process the ballots or whatever, then also this idea that, people
Parker, make it happen.
Right. People may be voting, as late as the 10th. Again, we need to pay attention. No one in no jurisdiction is allowed to vote after November the 3rd. What they did say was that if you have a mail-in ballot, it has to be postmarked no later than November the 3rd, which is the day of the election, and received within 7 calendar days.
That is correct.
That's what that means. Yep. But if you don't put your ballot in the mail until November the 7th, you're out of gas.
It's not going to count.
Also, ballots are sometimes thrown out because absentee ballots or mail-in ballots have to be not notarized, but witnessed.
If someone helps you to fill it out.
Right.
Yeah.
And
but they give you that form.
Correctly, your ballot is put aside and they will notify you that your ballot is potentially invalid unless you can prove that it was you.
Yes.
Then all you got to do is take your ass down to wherever and sign the shit.
Yep.
And there you go.
Yep.
There are policies. This is what I remember in civics class is like what separates this country from other countries is that this isn't, I hate the word third world, but in other underdeveloped democracies, which is still a loaded term, but you know what I mean.
So wait a minute, interesting point. Parker was saying postmark depends on the state. In some states, it has to be received by election day.
Right, which means that you need to figure out what the rules are in your jurisdiction.
And I don't, because that's here for Maryland, as far as I know. But I'm not going to have that issue because I'm going.
Yeah, because I'm not going to. This isn't like tax returns.
Yeah,
where you wait the latest possible. You put that. I'm going to do that shit no later than Monday.
Yeah.
But what was I saying?
You were talking about the checks and balances or whatever.
Oh yeah, so like in an undeveloped democracy, they just don't have the history, and there hasn't been enough legal action and policy behind certain things. So there may not actually be a plan for what happens if you need to all vote. But this country, this country is fucked up about a lot of things, but you can guarantee that they know how to get someone elected. There is no one's going to be sitting there like the day after the election. It's like, what do we do about all of these people who have these absentee ballots? That's all been figured out well ahead of time. But it's on us as citizens to know, as Parker said, in some states, that postmarked by date is not that it has to be postmarked, is that it has to be delivered no later than election day. In some states, it has to be postmarked by election day and delivered no later than 7 days afterwards. So it's up to us as citizens to be aware
of what the
requirements are in your local jurisdiction.
Yes.
So there were so many things that, your president or y'all's president said wrong that required pushback. You know,
Did you notice at the end when Melania walked up on stage?
He was like,
I was like, who is this woman? Who is this woman? And why she walked? I was like, oh, that's Melania. But listen, when Jill walked her ass up on that stage,
because she knew she had to calm his ass down, because he was like, you know, I'm about to fuck him up. You know, I'm about to fuck him up.
Talk about my baby.
He talked about my dead baby. You know, because if you don't know, when Jill Biden met Dr. Jill Biden, because she's always very careful to say doctor, because it takes a lot to get your fucking doctorate. So that's why everybody I know that's doctor, I'd be like doctor so and so, because it ain't just like, you know, I sat through class and fucked around and ended up with a degree. Anyway, when she met Joe Biden, his wife and daughter had just died.
Yes,
actually, he died. Their children, his wife and daughter died sometime between the day he was elected to the Senate and when he was sworn in, because he actually was sworn in from a hospital bed.
Yes,
and so their relationship grew with helping him rebuild. So they've got a whole, not just history of love, but it's also like a supportive kind of aspect to their relationship.
You are in the corner, party city gangster. So you go stand in the corner. Go right to the corner.
So, you know, there was just so much about that. And people are also giving Chris Wallace shit. And, you know, listen, both Joe Biden and Chris Wallace had an impossible task of trying to work with a child.
So here's my thing. And so I was talking about this with someone else last night, and I was like, who could, because people were upset with the moderator, and I was like, Chris Wallace did everything that he could do. Howsoever, for me, I think at some particular point I'd have been like, listen, Mr. President, I'm going to turn off this microphone if you cannot abide by the rules stipulated that you agreed to. But before we start this, if you cannot turn his mic off, we will be going to a commercial.
No, here's what we do. Well, you would have done that, or I would have been on. This would have been the equivalent of a road trip. If I'd have been like, you do this one more time, we're gonna turn this whole car around.
Yeah, because it would have been.
There will be no trip to Disney.
It would have been over.
And turning the car around would have been the equivalent of Chris Wallace looking in the camera and saying, I will not do this anymore, and getting up and walking off stage.
Listen, we talked about who could have done this as an effective moderator. So we talked about Rachel Maddow. Mm-hmm. We also talked about Chris Matthews as well. Mm-hmm. But then I sat back and thought about it, and I said, 15 years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who could have at that point stifled it a little bit.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking Jesse could have given him a little bit of a run. But again, I'm talking about 15,
I'm trying not
years
to put
ago.
my own personal things.
But I
haven't seen it for Jesse for about 20 years.
Well, not even that he could, but again, to command that presence in the room, I'm going to give him that 10, 15 years ago. Now,
definitely not now, but I don't see that.
But I can't think of who else could have actually been a great moderator for it at that particular
interesting
point.
That you bring up Rachel Maddow, because I don't think she could have done it either, because Donald Trump doesn't respect women. And here's something that we have to bring up before we go to anything else is misogyny and anti-women, because it may have been a little bit more vociferous, another SAT word, this time around, but he treated Hillary Clinton the same way. And there wasn't as much outcry over it because we don't value women in the same way.
Okay.
I guarantee you the conversation would be somewhat different this time around. Like if Hillary Clinton had called Donald Trump a clown, people would have been all over her.
Probably.
Even people on this side of the aisle would have been like, that's not presidential or whatever. Probably. Because women are held to this standard where you got to smile in this women and Black people too.
Because if it was
you got to smile, you got to smile in this hoe's face while this hoe spits on you, and you look. You know, it's that angry Black person or the angry woman. You know, you're supposed to sit there and take this shit. You know, this again. I'm not going to hit you hard, but you're doing this. Someone is doing this to you.
Ow!
Right. But then if you haul off and slap me, you're the person with the problem. It's like, bitch, you are the one who has been antagonizing me.
Yeah.
And then when I respond as a normal human being, suddenly I'm the problem.
Yeah.
So we can't gloss over the fact that misogyny is in play here because Joe Biden is being given the respect due to men in politics that women aren't.
I am not disagreeing with you at all.
Yeah. Anything else we got to say about this shit show? Well, I will say that they have talked about some changes that they're going to make for the next debate. Well, I honestly don't think
another debate.
Well, both camps are saying that they do intend to go forward. I think Joe Biden has to, because he can't appear to, because there are some people who are dumb. There are some people who are so weak that if Joe Biden chooses not to debate, they're not going to vote for him because they're going to say he's weak. I am going to say, girl, there's no need to vote for it because y'all didn't even have a debate. So what was the point? I mean, if Joe Biden says we didn't debate, so what the fuck is the point of me standing here, pissing into the wind for 90 minutes, it's unnecessary, but it's going to happen because Joe Biden isn't going to want to appear to let the bully win.
So we shall see.
As Link said, I am excited to see Kamala eat Pence for breakfast.
Let me tell you something. I am listen.
I'm gonna be sitting with popcorn,
popcorn brewed. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get me some kettle chips because I'm gonna make sure I go get my favorite kettle chips, my Utz smoking sweets, and I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna be crunching the shit like
yes.
I cannot wait. Yeah. I cannot wait. But we shall see, because again, this will probably show the misogyny between the two candidates.
Don't think I've never really seen Mike Pence debate, but I don't think he's as batshit insane as Donald Trump, but he's also a much more dangerous kind of evil, vicious, racist, misogynist, homophobe.
And he does it in stealth, or tries to be in stealth.
Right.
And
so, what's going to happen is he's going to say some bullshit.
And Tyra Nicole, we're not going to, that's what we're not going to do. We're not going to write nothing down. We're not going to leave nothing. We're not going to leave no evidence. We're not going to do that because we don't need anybody looking on our show.
Right.
Looking for you. And, I got to tell them that I don't know where you are because I ain't going to lie because I don't know where you are. But I'm just saying we're going to take that out. Delete that comment.
I honestly don't. I'm not going to delete it before.
I'm trying looking out for
Lola said Kamala and Pence is going to be ugly. I honestly don't think so, because if by ugly you mean Pence is going to be cut up with the truth, then yes, but it's not going to be ugly and nasty.
They're not going to be
this, because we've seen Kamala cut somebody to pieces in the Senate, so we already know that she's vicious with the words. So we're not even going to worry about that.
When she told Donald Trump afterwards, when he said something about, "Oh, sorry about you not withdrawing from the race," and she said something like, "I'll see you at your trial."
Right.
I can't remember what she said.
She got this,
but I was like,
"Listen, she got a wicked tongue."
I was like, "Come on, girl.
We ain't got to worry about her at all."
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's. If we miss anything, you have some other points to say about this, listen, please chime in. But
what I think Pence is going to have to do is the burden is going to be put on Pence he's going to be in the role of a parent, like Kamala is going to be the principal and like, Mr. Pence, your son Donald cut the fucking fool a couple of weeks ago, and then you're going to not the principal. Kamala is social services, and Mike Pence is going to have to explain why Donald Trump shouldn't be taken away and put in foster care because this hoe don't know how to act in front of people.
But it's funny because it's true. It's funny because it's true.
And he's going to have to defend all of the. First of all, he's going to have to defend all of the nastiness that happened in the debate. Then he's going to have to defend all of the policies and things that this administration has done over the past couple of years. So I think, in a weird way, Kamala is going to take a page from Donald Trump and constantly hit him with points, because in a debate you constantly hit somebody with something, but it just has to remain based in civility and logic.
Yes. Well, and I think
more logic than civility, but yes, civility,
well,
because
civility, there's a certain,
this is you know the girls keep acting. I mean, this is the real wifeification of politics, where people
it really was.
act like this is acceptable. Girl, this is the person. Do you think that a man who was this unhinged like this should have the codes to nuclear weapons?
That's like, listen, that's just like that angry tenant that's leaving out your building because they got put out because they didn't pay their rent.
Right.
They're gonna go back and they're gonna fuck up your shit. Listen, if once Donald leaves the house, we need to watch him going out the door, turned over all the keys and everything.
They need to put an RFID chip on everything.
Listen, watch him as he go out the door. Because see, he'll be that knucklehead that'll turn around and be like, I'm out the White House, but I still have this. And it's like,
right. Like Tyra says, if she comes out blazing, middle America is going to call her a mean bully. Pence's sole base is middle America, that Bible prayer belt. And because Kamala is black and Indian, well, black and female, the Indian part less, because
I don't even think
she is Indian, but keeping it real, people don't think of her as that Indian woman. The same way that Barack Obama is half white,
right?
Or people don't think of, they don't say the first biracial president. Some people do, but most people say the first black president. They're going to look at her as a black woman, and if she raises her voice or says something that makes Mike Pence
come on, Tyra,
whatever, she's just going to be the angry black woman all over again. So she's in an impossible position, but
I feel like if anybody can handle it, I think she definitely can handle it.
And she knows it's going in, ain't she?
Yeah.
This ain't no like, I can't believe they're talking about me like this.
She knows. Listen, she was a prosecutor.
I do not have any desire for anything to happen to Joe Biden. But
because I keep telling, I was talking about this last night. Joe might be taking one for the team. Listen, I love Joe. If Joe wins, he will be the oldest elected president coming in the dough.
Right.
In the dough.
He'll be 77. Listen, nothing wrong being 77.
I know, nothing wrong with that at all.
Praise God, hope I reach.
Yes.
Knock on wood, hope that I make that age. But
house and ever.
Yeah.
This might be the setup for Kamala to
be the first black president, or first black female president, the first female president, and the first black female president.
So
I think listen, no shade, but if you look at actuarial tables, there is a decent chance.
And 8 years?
Well, at least 4. In the first 4 years, definitely. In the next 8 years, almost certainly. So,
So I don't know. I don't know. But
hey. Oh, he'll be 78 if he's elected. Because his birthday is November 28th. So he'll be 78 years old
78
when he's elected. And if he survives, and again, I'm not wishing anything negative on this man, but if he survives to make his second term, that will make him 82 years old by the time he's elected to his second term. And have people ran countries at that point, but
Well, listen, we shall see how all this is going to turn out. But I need everybody to go out there, cast your vote. Don't sit and wait. If you got your ballot, fill that bad boy out. Right. Go to the polls on that day. Make it happen. Like,
I'm going to say something. I want to give you the last word because I do talk a lot. I know this.
That's why we have a show, so that we can do what the fuck we want to do.
That's true. I will say that I know that Joe Biden isn't your first, your second, your third, maybe even your fourth or fifth choice.
You might want to stop at the third.
Okay, but my point is, we've seen what the past 4 years has been like.
Absolutely.
Although there are those of us with eyes who saw it coming before he was elected. But even if you didn't think it would get this bad or whatever, you've seen what's happened to us over the past 4 years. is there anything that gives you any hope that what we've seen will not continue for the next 4 years, or that a Biden president will be as bad as we already know a Trump presidency is? That's what I gotta say. Do you have any last words on that?
I'm gonna sign on that.
All right.
But so on to some fun stuff that was really interesting. Lovecraft Country.
I fucking lived.
Listen.
So many ways. Now, I'm not a black woman, but girl, if you, my mother was a black woman. You're a black woman.
I'm gonna fuck him up.
She's gonna get me as soon
when
as
this camera go off.
As soon as this show
I just
goes
put that.
off.
I'm gonna fuck him up. Fuck him up worse. I'm gonna fuck you up, Links. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just so many things about this were refreshing. Like, I'm just going to skip around a little bit. Like, we just don't normally. And the woman that plays Hippolyta is a woman of substance. I mean, she's not huge.
No,
but she's definitely not a size 3. And we are not used to seeing women of any hue, let alone black women, who are anything larger than a size 8, being shown in a positive light. So when she was butt ass, and I was like, is that her titty out?
Listen.
On the table? And she was just like, yes, my titties are out.
Yeah, I was like,
bitch, yes, I have titties.
I was like, come on, perky nipple.
All right. And her body was celebrated. And at first I was like, I do think there is still some misogyny at work here, because a lot of these shows, while they are positive on some aspect, there's still the aspect of the male gaze, because we don't ever see males. We don't ever see men. We rarely see men like that. Like, we ain't seen Tick butt ass naked. We don't know what his penis looks like.
Well, we saw him butt naked. We just didn't see his penis.
Right. We see his booty because people are fine with showing their booties.
Yeah.
But, we don't see male penis, in the same way that we see full frontal nudity, even on this show, among the men of the show. So there's still that misogyny and aspect of the male gaze. And this is how you know that misogyny is so rampant, because the showrunner is a woman. So misogyny is not limited to men. It's about patriarchal systems and how they infect all of society.
Okay.
So anyway, but I was just thinking of, my mother and so many black women who shrunk themselves. Because it's not here, it's upstairs. That picture of my mother when she was 17 years old. I have one of her journals.
Okay.
And she talked about all of the things that she wanted to do in her life, and all of the things, I'm trying not to cry here, all of the things that she wanted to accomplish in her life. And she accomplished almost none of those. And I hope that she didn't feel like she shrunk herself for me and my sister. And to some extent, maybe we all do shrink ourselves, because, think of what you wanted to be when you were 17 and who you are now at almost 50. And did you shrink yourself a little bit? But I think women shrink themselves a lot more than men do.
Especially when there are kids in the picture.
Yeah.
So, and listen,
my mother was, she was 20, it was 1971. She was 22 years old. So it was the beginning of the feminist movement and the birth of the sexual revolution and everything. But still, your mother and my mother came of age in a time where women's roles were different and the expectations. So what they expected at 17 probably ran headlong into expectations of women at that time and what you could actually be.
My mother, having conversations like that with my mother, she said that she always wanted to be a model. So
Okay.
I would joke with my mother because anyone that knows her or knew her.
Your mother's a gorgeous woman too. I can see it.
But she's short. She's 5'2", and that was her thing. She said her guidance counselor and all, and they were like, "But you're so short, you can't do that." She was like, "But I only weigh 110 pounds," and I was like, "Well, girl," I was like, "What?" But listen, I see it. Like I just saw it in her attitude, but I also saw it in her every day.
Yeah.
When she was getting
Anybody
up and
that
going
owns
to work,
fucking four coats is a model.
but going to
I can
work,
see her ass crippled pimping down the street, and she smoked too, didn't she? With that one fucking cigar and that full length fur coat, bitch, she was a model.
Listen, I
know she didn't beat you, but looking like Penny's mama with the head wrap on and the fur coat, bitch, she was a model.
So I got to share this story, and I don't know if my friend Eric is watching, but he went down to meet my mom at her job one time to go pick something up for her. So he came in and he went and asked my mom. He's like, I'm here to see Mrs. Epic. So they were like, "Who's that?" And it was just like, "Mrs. Epic." They were like, "Stacks." I said, "What?" He said, "They called your mom Stacks." I said, "Stacks? What the hell?"
Like stacks of cash?
Just stacked, like she was stacked.
Oh, because you had big titties? Oh, okay. 26, 36, 24, 36.
Listen,
okay, got it.
Mary Alice is stacked and was stacked, and so she was very much of.
Well, look at her son.
Listen, she was very much of like Jackie Harry with that whole like. She was that is my mother. So and on top of that, her attitude and she tried to dress and listen. So she lived out that story. And so when you talk about women shrinking themselves, I could see that in my mother every single day. And the only thing that she had, just like I'm sure your mother had, something that she put her all into. And if I remember correctly, it's probably her cooking and her care for you guys. That's the thing that she shined. And she's like, "Nope, bitch, you can't say nothing to me about this. You can't do nothing. You can't fuck with this.
Can't fuck with that."
And so I get it because women in general have done that thing where they've shrunken themselves, but I've also noticed that there are some things with some women, my mother and your mother, that they choose. It's like, oh, this is that one thing that's just not going to shrink.
Because we saw so many things that Hippolyta was good at. First of all, when she was at the Ori, I was like, "Is this bitch doing?"
She was
complex math
in her head, and I was like, she pulled a piece of paper out.
She wasn't even writing that shit down at first. She was literally doing complex astrophysics, not astrology, complex astrophysics in her head.
And I was like, "Oh my God." And she talked to her father about the astronomy piece.
Yeah.
And so like, I was just like,
that woman is a genius.
She was like, listen, I'm here for it.
Yeah. And when she went to all right, so we're skipping around. So what happens?
But wait, can we just give a shout out to I don't even know what the woman's name was, but I'm gonna call her Garnet since she reminds a lot of people from Steven's Universe.
Yeah.
That afro. This afro was everything.
Yes.
I want you to understand everything. And when she first turned the corner and I saw her,
the character's name was Serafina.
Yeah. Listen, you know what I'm gonna call her? Because I first looked at it, I thought this was Selena Johnson. I think Selena Johnson is a beautiful woman. She's a great singer. But she first turned that corner, I said, "This afro, go Selena, work it." But then I was like, "That's not Selena Johnson."
Yes.
But she gave me everything I needed. And when they got to space and she was hanging out outside in the area, in the space, and the train on this celestial being with this afro
it was just so much. But all right, so we're skipping around. Let's start at the beginning. All right, so Montrose and
his boo thing,
Sandy, I think his name is, are having breakfast. And in typical male fashion, when they don't want to talk about their feelings or whatever, it's always displaced. So, dude got up, fixed them this full ass breakfast, and he was like, "Why we eating bacon?
I don't eat pork."
I don't eat pork. But I'm like, wait a nigga, this is what you had in the fucking house to eat. So if you don't eat pork, why the fuck is there pork in the house if you don't eat pork?
Wait, didn't he say he went out and got that?
Oh yeah, maybe he did.
I think he said, but still,
And then he was like, well, why are my eggs running? You know, I don't like running eggs. And dude is like, listen, why are we doing this?
Why are we arguing?
Because every time we try to get close or whatever, you try to do things to push me away. So then dude gets up to leave. And as he's going out the door, that's when Letty and Tick show up. And he sees him holding hands, and that sets Tick off. He does call him a faggot, but I'm willing to let that go.
Because if they are being true to the time period,
yes,
then yes.
Well, still, I mean, I don't think people enjoy being called faggots.
No. I'm not saying that he enjoyed it, but what I'm saying is that it went beyond. Well, I should say beyond. The father-son dynamic was one thing, but then it was also the gay thing.
I think it it was the gay thing, but it was the gay thing through the prism of, as Tick said afterwards, he beat my ass every day of my life to keep me from being soft. In other words, from being gay.
Right.
Meanwhile, you are a whole ass homosexual.
It was displacement
over here.
It was displacement.
And then, because remember, he said to him, it's like, did mom know?
Yeah.
And he says, yes, she knew. So it's like, all right, so you're not saying he's not. So by that admission, he's not saying, oh, this is some one-time fling that just happened. You've been knowing that you were gay. You knew that you were gay the whole time. You were beating my ass every fucking day to prevent me from being gay. And I'm not even gay. So, you know, and then he said the fucked up part about it is that I thought he did it because he loved me. So that's why I'm willing to forgive it, because it's the undercurrent of the fucked up family dynamic that underlays.
We're not going to do about that fucked up dynamic, about family dynamic, because we already, I think we have enough.
Yeah, well, that is true. He says Link says, remember he caught them in the alley in episode 1. But was that Montrose?
That wasn't Montrose.
That was another dude that he caught Sandy
that wasn't
in the alley. So anyway, so blah, 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 dash on past that. So then Hippolyta is like, you know what? This is some bullshit. You hoes have been lying to me. Something else happened to George beyond what you hoes told me. So I'm going to go find out what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
So she went to that house that they went to in the second episode that got blew up and saw a piece of her daughter's comic.
Yes.
And that's how she knew that George had at least been there. She gets home and figures out how to make the orrery work, which was the planetarium thing. She gets that to work.
Which was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So she gets it to work. There's a key with a set of spatial coordinates. So she goes to the spatial coordinates. There's a planetarium there. So she's getting the shit to work. And then these two cops show up, which I think are the two cops that work for the white guy that in Chicago. That's the cop that also belongs to the local lodge that Christina, the white woman who was pretending to be the white man, had infiltrated.
So many layers.
So many layers and levels. So Tick shows up because when they find out that they got the orrery to work, Hippolyta had left it open. So Tick sees the coordinates and he makes it there just as the cops are confronting this black woman in this planetarium. And remember, they all in on this secret society shit.
Yes.
So they get to fighting. Hippolyta shoots and kills one. And
throws the other one.
Tick throws the other one through this interdimensional portal that is now opened up. The portal opens up and Hippolyta gets sucked into it.
Yes.
Meanwhile, on this side, the end of the story for Tick is that he makes it out just as the police show up. So we don't see what happens there, but we're led to assume that he makes it out.
Yeah.
Hippolyta goes and she finds herself in this room. And like we assume that she's on like a spaceship. Did you make anything of the fact that the rubble was still smoking when she was rummaging through? Well,
no. Remember, they put her on the planet first, and then the ship came. The two guys came down.
He's talking about when she went to see the house. I didn't notice that it was still smoking
when she went to see that. I didn't make anything about that. But I'm talking about when she went through the portal. She literally landed on a place first, and then the two guys came and took her. When she first went through the portal, she landed on a place, and then these two beings showed up and walked towards her.
Oh yeah. Right, and then so she did end up in the ship and whatever, and so then she meets super awesome black girl.
Right,
and she was like, "Who are you?" And Hippolyta says to her, "Who are you?" She says, "I am," which is there are biblical references because this is what God said. He said, he said, "I am," and Hippolyta goes on this journey where she discovers who she is. And first she goes to Paris, to 1920s Paris.
Josephine.
And that was beautiful. And, you know, there was the scene with Frida Kahlo, because Frida Kahlo was the woman that says, you know, life is created by women like us or whatever. Frida Kahlo was the Mexican woman.
I know, but I'm trying to remember where was she?
Who was also Josephine Baker's lover.
Ah, okay. Now, okay. All right.
Gotcha. Or one of them.
Right. Because she had plenty.
Yeah, she had plenty. Yes. And so she leaves there and she ends up in 1800s Africa. There's actually a tribe of Dahomean women who fought off the French colonists. And they were so fierce that the French colonists they didn't want people to know that they had got essentially beaten up by a group of women.
By girls.
So they said that they were these 8-foot-tall warriors who were like demons. And these were not just,
y'all got y'all asses beat by these women. By women. Because they was trained soldiers and warriors.
Through this, you know, she said things that was really got me thinking about, you know, women's roles. She said, you know, we were told that we couldn't do this because it was, you know, it was not ladylike to be strong. It was not ladylike to, you know, use violence or to be violent or to raise your voice or to do whatever. And she says, well, what do we believe about that? You know, and so it was just a strong and beautiful thing about that. And then so eventually she leaves there. And we find her back in bed in that first scene that she had with George.
Yes.
And I didn't like that part. Because she said, you know, Serafina first asked her, who are you? She said, what do you want to do? If you could do anything in your life, well, she said, I would go and see Josephine Baker. And then she left that and she said, yeah, I'm this powerful warrior woman. And then she says, I am George's wife. And I was like, really? That's But that was important because that's part of who she is.
That's important, right?
And George came to the realization that, you know, he had been holding her back, or that he watched her shrink herself.
Yes,
and that he was an active participant.
He definitely didn't hold her back. He had a moment when he had to think about it. Yeah. When she called him and they were talking about it on the phone about coming with the guy.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. So eventually he ended up going on the journey with her, and so that's sort of where it ended. But there's just so many levels, and you know, just this article that I read on The Root by Dr. Kenitra Brooks talks about the difference between Black girl magic and Black woman magic. Black girl magic harnesses the power of fantasy and who we might be. Mm-hmm. Black woman magic harnesses the power of all that we are. So Hippolyta harnessed her Black woman magic. So she was, you know, the beautiful and body proud woman who danced naked on the stage with Josephine Baker. She was also the proud warrior woman who fought off a whole tribe. And also, if you noticed, the historical thing was French colonists in the 1800s, but in the show, those women were actually fighting Confederate soldiers. So there was another level to it there. And also part of Hippolyta's Black woman magic is that she was George's wife. Yeah. And that there is, I mean, you can't discount that part of your existence, but it shrinks you when you allow one of those things to be all that defines you.
Eccentric, yes, he had been, but she actually was doing a lot of the edits on the actual book. So
right, he was doing the dangerous part, because remember in the beginning he had already had his leg broke or his kneecap fucked up. That's why he couldn't, because on one of the journeys. So anyway, so this show just continues, and there's only 3 episodes left after that.
I don't know if I'm ready for this to end so quickly. I don't, because I know the next episode is going to focus on D,
the young girl,
the daughter,
yes.
And so at that particular point, because we had an episode that focused on pretty much on everybody,
on each character. Yeah. So D is the only one that we haven't had an episode focused on.
And so we had Letty.
We had Letty. We had several on Tick.
Letty, Tick, Montrose, Hippolyta.
We haven't had a whole episode that's focused on George.
Yeah. So maybe George will possibly come in because there's a piece of that they are like alluding to right now that he was his dad, which honestly knows in
I think that's probably going to become a thing,
and it might be a reveal of some sort. But
because I still stick to the fact. We dashed over the fact that Tick was going to see Hippolyta because he needed to go to St. Louis to find out more information about his aunt, who was a forebear, who was the only survivor of the Tulsa riot.
Right, and they had the same
birthmark
or tattoo on his arms.
At least as far as we know, there's been no mention of Montrose having that birthmark. Now,
that is correct.
If it comes out that George has that birthmark, then
we already know.
It's a wrap.
And also the fact that Letty's pregnant.
Yeah, Letty's pregnant. Letty's definitely pregnant.
Letty is pregnant with that baby.
Yeah.
So
it's
a lot, and they got 3 episodes to wrap it up in. And I because we got to figure out what went on with Daegu. With the
because that can't just be a thread.
Like
there has to
tie in somewhere. Like all these threads need to come and tie in. So if this next episode is about D, then we need to figure out
the last 2 episodes
how these are going to tie together and into one nice neat package. And it may not necessarily be in a nice neat package, but address some of the big questions.
I think it has to, because I think Jordan Peele is that. I mean, they will probably leave some things to go into the next show, but the major mystery of getting this book and figuring out,
And this episode was directed by Charlotte Sealing and written by Misha Green and Shannon Houston. Mm-hmm. And I think Misha is one of the actual, and I think I've been discounting this all the time with J.J. Abrams and Jordan Peele, but I think Misha is actually a producer as well on the show.
She's actually the showrunner.
She's the showrunner. I'm sorry. Yeah. She's the writer of the show. Am I correct?
And the showrunner, like Shonda Rhimes.
Right. So I think I've been discounting that, and I apologize for that, because Misha is that girl.
Yes.
So
anything else we want to talk about this show?
I'm just looking forward to it. And in fact, Sunday's episode was interesting, and I was happy about it, but it was like that episode where they found the young lady, the twin-spirited young lady. Like, I was like, I want more. Like, I need a little bit more. Like, it just gave me a little spoon, like a little.
Well, I think because
but I wanted more.
Only 10 episodes of the season, not a 22 episodes or even 13. That
But I just wanted more. So
but it's also following sort of, as Dr. Brooks was saying, the show is based on the book, which was also apparently written like a series of episodes with like a monster of the week.
Okay.
So in this episode, the monster is really ourselves and what's holding us back. So it wasn't the monster in the same sort of way. And that monster might be sexism or racism or even homophobia.
And all of this is very relevant to this day. Yeah. All of these things.
I did read something today on Facebook. Someone had not a conspiracy theory, but a theory that remember when Ruby went back and she and Letty had sort of a reconciliation, that wasn't actually Ruby, that was actually Christina trying to find out information, so that, because remember, Christina's looking for that orrery so that she can get that key, because she needs the book and all this other shit. And remember, that's why Tick is going to St. Louis to find the book, because the slave, his forebear that led them out, apparently remember that book that she had in her hand?
Yes.
That is the book of spells. That's the whole
book of spells.
So that other book,
she's looking for pages.
She's looking for pages, whereas they might have a whole book.
Right.
So yes.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I got to see how this is going to turn out, but that is the interesting little twist.
Yeah.
If that was not Ruby and that was Christina, is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be an interesting little twist. So,
well, all right. So let's wrap this up, and we'll come back. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Yeah. So, kittens, take a look at this, and we'll see you on the other side of this 30 seconds. We not you give us 30 seconds. Check out all that context stuff. We gotta do some more pictures, some more promos.
Yeah,
we ain't been nowhere doing the.
I know, right?
It's like, all right.
I will check to see if it's given a lag. It may be on this view, but it should be fine.
Okay.
All righty then. This was a fun episode.
It was. As usual. We always have a good time.
I got a wicked fart.
Listen, I have this belch and I've been holding on because I've been drinking this sparkling water. And baby, when this camera go off, and I probably sit down in that car and be like,
yes.
But roll that beautiful bean footage. You know what? I hate you, Legs. I hate you. So listen, we will see you all next week when we will probably, I don't know where we're gonna be next week. Where are we flying off to? I don't know.
Well, since we're in that part of the world, you know, I feel like, I don't know, because you know, we can sort of go wherever we like.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go to Santorini, the Aegean. Well, let's go to Africa. Let's go to the pyramids.
I'm good with that, but I can deal with Santorini too.
Okay.
I could, but I mean, you know, we'll see. So listen, all I'm gonna say is tune in for us next week so you can get to see where we are. And but you know, like I said, make sure y'all come. You know, this is my residence, and then that one is Dominions. Whoop, right there, right, the orange.
Yeah, the one with the orange roof. There we go.
Oh, with the orange roof. Over.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, right there.
Right there. Yeah. So
yes,
but Ibiza might be an option.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we can go wherever we like. You know, we're independently wealthy.
Yeah, so we have several places that we can go to. So, but listen, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to spend the evening with us. We know that you could be anywhere. But we definitely appreciate you guys coming in and spending your time in quarantine with us. We definitely appreciate it. It means the world to us. So again, I just always want to be thankful and let you guys know how we feel. I keep saying I and we in the same sentence.
Oh, for sure.
But, you know, I just want to make sure that everyone knows how grateful we are that you guys are here. And thank you for coming out this week. What about you?
I'm good.
Okay. So
it's been lovely.
Yeah, it's been lovely. So we will see you all next week.
Hallelujah.
Bye.
Mwah.